Hi, my name's Ethan Lawrence.
This is Jesse Leach from Killswitch Engage.
Hi, I'm Scotty Wartooth.
Hi, my name's Sean Smith.
Hi, my name is Desha Kiva.
Hey, this is Ryan McCombs from the band Soil.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is the Raging Cajun Lash LaRue.
Hi, I'm Valentina Visintin, and I am a special effects makeup artist, but also a metal singer. And I'm here at the Chronicles of Podcast with Tom and Jamie. So check it out. Stay with us. Happy man.
Ladies and gentlemen, this week we are bringing you a wonderful guest who has made a name for herself designing and creating incredible special effects makeup designs on projects like Guardians of the Galaxy, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, just little independent projects like that, nothing major. Not only this, but she also is helping train the next generation of artists with her Viva FX school, and on top of that, she can also tear up a stage with her band LoudBlood. Boys and girls, join us as we dive into the world of prosthetics, creatures and rock and roll and bring you the Chronicles of Valentina Visintin.
Oh. Thank you. I think that's appropriate, right?
Yeah. Did I butcher the pronunciation? I was going to check beforehand and I forgot.
Well, I don't think that's the issue. There probably will be my pronunciation, so you will have a couple of good laughs. But I totally lost my British accent. I used to have one once because I lived in the UK apparently. But yeah, I'm back to my Italian accent, so have fun.
No, that's all right. I mean, I wonder what like an Italian-British blend would sound like.
I don't know.
No,
I've seen a couple of old interviews of mine, and I was saying to myself in the screen, like, I sounded so British, which is quite funny because I'm Italian and the Italian accent is quite a strong one. It's difficult to hide. But I could hear myself having a lot of British accent on top of my Italian accent. So it was...
Wow.
Yeah.
I just love the idea of it, like, Luigi, I need that spaghetti over here and a bit of a pork pie, mate. That's all right.
Yeah, totally.
Anyway, how has your Monday been? Have you been up to much today?
Yes, I am. It's been really hectic because I'm preparing for a show called EffectUs, which is a convention about special makeup effects that we hold in Rome. And it's going to be next weekend, so we are very close to date. But I am from Milano, and it's 6-hour drive away from Rome. So I'm preparing, packing everything, and I'm going on Wednesday, traveling with the band, with all the pieces for the exhibition and all the materials for my workshops over there. So I'm doing a bit of the education over there too. Yeah, it's been quite hectic. Yeah, I'm very excited. And together I had a job on top, which shoots the following week, and luckily in Rome, so I have to bring everything in at once. But still, it's all overlapped, and it's never nice when it is. So because you can get your head around nicely. So I'm a bit paranoid these days. Like, have I forgotten something really important? So
I was going to say, it's not like you can just pop back home and grab it either, is it? Like 6-hour drive away.
Exactly, that's the thing. So
it's going to be something weird. It'd be like a toothbrush or something. Do you know what I mean? It'd be something really remedial that you don't really need.
I hope so. Yeah, that'd be the least. Yes. Yeah.
So what we like to do on these is take it right back to the beginning, back to when you were young and growing up. What did you want to be in your more formative years? Has it always been like art and effects for you, or was it something completely different originally, like, I don't know, train driver?
Yeah, it's a nice question. Well, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a vet because I loved horses. I was horse riding and drawing horses all day. So that was my thing up to the probably high school. No, I'm lying. When I was about 12, I started to go into art, and I liked art in general. It was my expression, my form of expression. I like to draw, to paint. Then I went to art school, high school, and during the high school, I realized I didn't want to be an artist that lives on his own creations. Like that you have to create and sell your masterpieces and whatever. And I realized that since I loved cinema so much, there was a job actually, which was the special effects makeup artist, that I was starting to look to And I found a school in Italy with Maestro Carlo Rambaldi. He designed E.T. Do you remember the extraterrestrial creature? He used to do all the animatronics and the creatures for loads of films of those years, like Dune. No, not Dune. Was it Dune? I don't remember. Or no, I don't remember. He participated to many. Oh, so cut that because it's awful that I don't remember. But I even read this book. You know, I forgot everything about his career apart from E.T. And the school closed exactly the year of my degree, so I had to choose something else for my like university, whatever I was doing later. And so I contacted some teachers from that school, and they suggested me to go into here is called scenography. It's probably called set design. Yeah, and then once I was gonna work in the industry, I could reach out to somebody doing special effects makeup and just starting as an apprenticeship, whatever. I don't know.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah. And yeah, I thought that was a great idea. But so I enrolled in the Academy of Fine Arts in the course of scenography, which set design. And I realized immediately that it wasn't my thing. But there was a nice course of costume design where I was spending a lot of time doing, thinking about the physical aspect of the face and the head, whatever, of the characters instead of the costumes. And my teacher said, maybe you should look into makeup. And I was like, yeah, I've never made this connection actually in my head. Like I could start to go into makeup rather than set design and start from there. So I looked into a makeup school in Milano, and I enrolled parallel to the Academy of Fine Arts because I thought very wisely that if I was still doing the Academy of Fine Arts, I had this excuse to have a few years as a student allowed to just study, because luckily my parents were helping me with my the fees and everything. So I said, well, if I do the makeup course that lasts 1 year, I continue the Academy of Fine Arts, I can work in the evening on my projects and parallelly create another career. So I did that, and I did a makeup school. I started to work into beauty makeup in Milano. Milano is a fashion place, whatever. And so there's a lot of photographers looking for makeup artists for the shoots. We have also television, which is quite strong, and we have adverts, and so I started into that field. And with the money that I was earning from beauty, I was doing my special effects projects. And there used to be forums online, because that was previous all the Facebook, social, YouTube, anything. So there were these forums where you could connect with the people looking for crew for independent films. And I started to make some independent movies with the young directors, and I was free just to create whatever I could, because there was little money, so just enough to pay the materials. But that was great because you were allowed to create, because they couldn't say you anything, little money, little, influence on your decisions. And that was great because I could really put in practice what I was doing. And I took pictures of absolute everything I was doing. I created a portfolio. And with that portfolio at hand, once I finished the Academy of Fine Arts, I started to send it in Italy first, but it was really difficult to start, because Italy used to have a really close industry. Like the job of the makeup artist was inherited across the generations. So there used to be like big families of hair designers and makeup artists and costume designers, and it was really difficult to get in. Especially I also was from Milano, so totally different town, and so I had no chance. They were offering me pay to work positions. Like I had to pay them, and that was insane.
That's a thing.
Like, yeah, I know, it's crazy because I had to move to another town as well, so I had a lot of expenses ahead, and yeah, that was great. But I had my little revenge later on because these people called me back for work later once they discovered that I was, growing up as an artist. So I'll tell you later about that. It's nice.
Okay.
A nice little revenge. Yeah, so I decided to send the same portfolio in the US because at the time I only knew that industry in Los Angeles, like, Hollywood. And but sadly, a few years before, there was the September 11th. So that changed everything in regards of which people could, get the permission to live in the country. And I didn't have any, specialty. I was a student, and one option was to enroll to another makeup academy, but they were so expensive. I didn't have the money, even with the help of my parents. We couldn't afford that. So I started to write to some makeup designers that I admired, and in particular, I remember I contacted Dick Smith. I don't know if you're familiar with all the names in the industry, but Dick Smith was like the padrino of special effects. Is a person that really developed the technique. And I also contacted Greg. Was Greg Nicotine or not? It was oh shit, I forgot. Michelle Burke, because I love the film Dracula by Bram Stoker.
Yes.
And that was and I started to randomly contact the makeup artists involved in the films that I liked, and they were so kind to tell me, well, you're from Italy, you're from the European Union, why don't you just go to London, which is great, it's got a big industry, and you could ask there because it would be easier for you to travel. At the time the UK was still in the European community, so
yes.
So I started to get names of workshops that I didn't even think of. There were like 20 workshops. It's a lot of work. Yeah, the industry in the UK is really big, and I started to contact them, and I got my first job at Millennium FX by Neil Gorton.
Yes.
And he asked me to come for 2 weeks trial, and those 2 weeks became 7 months. And then I went back for Christmas, and then I went back again. So, and then it's been like 6.5 years there. So
Wow.
It's been a long ride. And then I came back to Italy in 2014. So it's 10 years now that I'm back. So that's the beginning of it, and then in the middle there's all sort of things. So just let me know.
Yeah, I was gonna say I find it crazy that Italy is renowned for families keeping things within families, even like recipe, like my grandmama's recipe. I don't know why I'm doing the accent. Sorry, I'll stop doing that. So sorry. It's just a natural. It's just such a natural thing to do. Any Italians listening, I'm so sorry. Like it's like, it's my grandmother's recipe. We've had this for the family for years. It's like, but surely you could make a business out of this, and you could branch this out, and everybody could try grandmother's pizza or pasta or whatever it may be. Do you know what I mean? So I find that crazy that they do that within the film industry as well. Like, why are they not like, oh, let's bring everyone in and let's build this company and make it massive?
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe without any kind of evilness it's a natural tentative of preservation of the as you call it, tradition. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think behind all of it is that, and then it eventually became like, I'm afraid to lose my job if somebody's better than us, But that's a mean thought. So you cannot avoid to think that part of it is because of that if somebody else gets in and get noticed, then there's a chance they might have less and less work. which
I
is
see.
eventually happened because of a natural, just evolution of things. Because I found that people of a certain how's it called? Sorry, I struggle to find the words because
That's okay.
I don't use English that often. So once
It's okay.
the words were coming quicker, now I have to think about them. I wanted to say lost myself. Yeah, so people of some generations lost like a train because they were the people that were in between at the top of the career in the technology ascending. I don't know if and therefore they didn't have time to update as quick as we were doing because we suddenly got information quicker.
Yeah.
So they kind of got lost, and it was just a few years because eventually everybody got in the loop. But my generation of people that really wanted this job and were really active to look for informations. We were ready when the information came in a mass, and they didn't because they were just used to the old techniques, and they were in the comfort zone. And also eventually I was lucky to live the transition between the film and the digital cinema. And I realized that I was lucky to be in the passage because I was already learning, and it was quick to learn the new needs for the digital cinema. While people that were only used to film, they had issues because the digital is demanding more precision, and the technique needed to change, all over the making process. So they had to update everything while we were learning. So it was kind of easier because I don't know, maybe when you're still learning, you are already at full gas. So it doesn't cost you any effort. While if you're already used to something and you're in a comfort zone, you're kind of lazier. And maybe you think, it won't be me the one who sees the change, but it was so sudden and quick that maybe I can tell now that probably I want to be facing the AI issue because in Italy everything is so slow that the techniques are not implementing that fast in my industry. While these people back then, when we had the digital change, it was all so much quicker, and all of a sudden the world was connected, so you couldn't hide in your country. You you just were compared to all the other products from countries that were more developed, so everything had to change really fast.
Yeah, and I mean with technology now, because obviously with how quick and how demanding that becomes, it's like you could be doing one thing and then tomorrow it's like, hang on a minute, what's this? Yeah.
I know.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy, and it's a little bit outputting if you are, not saying old, but older. So there was a natural change, and I got my little revenge. No, it wasn't my purpose, but I have to take some satisfaction from all this. I had to,
of course,
emigrate because of that. So I'm quite happy that eventually I got back and I could, build my foundations on my knowledges, and so.
Yeah. So just briefly taking it back to the start, you were saying how like you had this love for cinema and it's what made you want to go into this. Was it like a particular film or something like that stood out to you that was like, I need to know how they did that? Like, I want to learn how to do it. Was it a certain thing or just film in general?
Yeah, no, there was some particular movies. At first, what brought me into loving cinema was horror movies like Shining and The Exorcist and so on. But for makeup, when I saw The Lord of the Rings and the Narnia movies. I was really into fantasy at the time, and I was like devouring all the backstage footage in the DVDs. So I was constantly watching if you could spot in the background somebody making up somebody, and I was slowing down the film, and I was trying to see what they had on the table, what products they were using, and of course I was scouting for the names at the end so I could look out for what they did before. And it was these sort of films that really got me into even understanding that this was a profession, because also that was important for me to understand that was a real job, and not just some dude. It was a crew of people doing it, so it was motivating, because sometimes when you think it's just one man in their garage is a thing, but when you see it's a crowd of people doing these massive scenes, and then you can think that maybe there's a place for me. So I visualized that, and
I don't think anyone could ever doubt your dedication to the craft for the fact you sat through the credits of Lord of the Rings, and probably all three of them, because I think the credits are longer than the film itself.
Yeah, true. I still don't understand how sometimes people don't insert all the credits in the films. It's a problem that we have in Italy. I often, after a job, I give the list of all the people that worked for me in the workshop, and sometimes they don't even write them. It's like crazy, because for some people it's an honor, and maybe it's the only chance to say, oh, I was part of this, because maybe they were just a little part of the chain, and having their name on is so important, and people don't understand that often.
That actually blends beautifully. That something I was going to ask in a little bit, but now you've mentioned it. When I was looking on the resume on your website, there's a section that says uncredited and a list of projects you've worked on. Is that a case of that, where you've worked on it and they've just not bothered?
Yeah, but also uncredited can happen when you just were on a couple of days, and therefore, I mean, I wouldn't even feel I have the right to be on the credits, because I was just thrown in and out. So I leave the credits to people that actually spent more time. Sometimes it was a case of being forgotten, but more often it's just I was on dailies for maybe 2-3 days, and it was not worth it.
That's fine. So you mentioned obviously you went to London, you were working for Millennium. Is that where you got to work on projects like X-Men and Guardians of the Galaxy and things like that?
That came actually later, because the Millennium FX at the time where I arrived, they were doing more BBC stuff, and so I worked on many BBC series when I was on Millennium. Then later on, I sent my CV to other companies, and I used to work for the currently called Silicon. Jesus, they changed their name. It was Creatures Inc.
Right.
Creatures Inc. And I did X-Men with them. I did Prometheus, Clash of the Titans. Then I went to work for Nick Dadmans for Harry Potter 7, which was the only one I made too, because when I arrived in the UK, my housemate was working on the 5th, and I applied for the 6th, and eventually got in on the 7th. So that was a dream, like I need to go on that, but they didn't need extra crew. Well, the 7th one was pretty big, and they needed a lot of crew, so I got my step in. And then there were many companies I worked for, Barry Gower and others. It was really nice to just to see many ways of work, and there's so many talented artists. Mark Coulier, which is gonna be my guest next weekend after the convention.
Amazing.
Yeah, because I'm using all my contacts to invite every year a few guests, international guests, which is nice.
That's incredible. But before we move on to everything that you've worked on, what's actually your process for creating a character from scratch? Like, do you get given a brief, or is it some sort of idea that comes to you? You go, oh, this is how I'm going to make it look. What do you think?
I'd love to to answer this question, if I was in the UK, because in Italy, I must tell you that fantasy is not that common.
Okay.
So what I do most is old agings and fat makeups or lookalikes. And I've been designing my makeups only when I came back to Italy and started my own company, because all the job I've done in the UK was working for other companies. So they own all the credits for designing those. But what happens is I'm sometimes given a brief of how many characters and what they should be. And the best thing is reading, of course, the screenplay, because you get a better idea of what it looks like. And then it's either I talk to the director if he's got any reference that he wants, or I search for them. And I like to get some pictures of the actor and start to draw digitally on top of their face, because that's what I think is more efficient for me.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I also do some overlapping from other pictures. I stretch them and just it's like applying another face on top of
Yeah, that's
them.
awesome.
And yeah, I like to work digitally like that. But it's a bit of digital paint, so it's old school as well, but on a iPad. And then I present them with the options, and then we proceed with doing live cast or digital scan. Depends. Nowadays, people love it because, of course, it's not invasive. So we do also digital scanning, and then we would sculpt on top of the positive copy of the actor's face, and then we decide how many pieces will the prosthetic be, and then we cut literally the sculpture into pieces that gets positioned on partial casts of the actor's face. So once we got the global sculpt, we decide, okay, we're gonna have 2 cheeks, a chin, forehead. I prefer to have more pieces rather than a big thing going on. It's easier to apply. If you fuck up one run of the material you're casting your piece in, then you would just lose just one bit.
Makes sense.
And it's easier to apply because you don't have to hold a big mass where you go. You just stick one bit at a time. It's more complicated because, of course, you got to blend everything in nicely, and you don't have to see any edges. But it moves much better as well, and it allows you to be really thin as well with the sculpt. Yeah, and that's it. We do a makeup test when we are allowed to have a decent amount of time to make any changes, because sometimes makeup tests are so close to the shooting that it's almost pointless to do them. Well, it's never pointless because you can time how long it takes you, so you can make a nice cool shoot with the right times. But if you're doing a test with the purpose of changing something, you need almost the same time that you had before, because you need to resculpt, So sometimes you're given such a small time frame that you spend like weekends trying to, make up with with the deadline, and it's awful. And I think in Italy, they're so used to work really fast. Just to give you an idea, a film in the UK is usually shot between 2 months, and it could be even 6 months if it's a big budget. In Italy, it's between 4 weeks and 6 weeks. A film.
Wow, holy shit!
Yeah, a really big project could be 2.5 months. It's ridiculously less. It's crazy. A TV series in the UK used to take us like 10 months, a year of filming. I remember Game of Thrones being like, the first one was 10 months. The following ones were even longer because they had all the time in the world. In Italy, it's the average is between 18 and 26 weeks. Weeks.
That's mad.
I know. And sometimes people ask me, like, are you not regretting that you came back to such, frantic work? I'm like, well, I worked for almost 10 years because on and off, and like I came back as well to the UK for some projects. I enjoyed to have a lot of time, but I was missing something, which was being creative really quickly. And I like to work under pressure, unfortunately, sadly, which is so I found that really funny, just not funny. It was really good fun to be able to create something really quick, solve problems really quick, and also when they invert dates in the schedule and you get anticipated for something that should take a lot more time to make, and you have to find a solution for that. I get really excited about that for some reason. I mean, not at the moment, but later on I say yes, we made it. Oh my god, this would never happen in the UK,
It's like an adrenaline rush.
yeah, probably that. I don't know. I cannot explain to myself because I even cry on jobs. So, I mean, it's not always fun. But looking it from far, I think now I'm enjoying the fact that I have to be really, quick and fast and trying to find the cheapest but most beautiful solution. And maybe I will regret it later on. Sometimes I think about the nice time I had, having time to set up my table. I would lay down on my brushes. I would clean all my airbrushes before starting to work. I was preparing everything. I even have time to look at the table and say, now everything is tidy. I should show you my table now. It's like a war scene. It's everything is exploded. I don't have time to, lay everything up anymore. I have to just, while I'm sculpting, I am already taking something from behind. I'm like, whoa, there's no time for it.
That's the brush pile. It's in there somewhere.
It's somewhere, yeah, exactly. It's really different.
Just I just take it you just never sleep.
I know. Also, because I'm quite addicted to do stuff in general, so I fulfill my life with activities.
Love it.
Not only the job, but I have to do stuff.
So you're talking then about the process with creation. So when we're talking before about when you're applying other people's designs, like you said, like Doctor Who and X-Men, Game of Thrones, whatever it may be, what does that look like then? Are you like given a brief from like the department head? Are you shown exactly what they want you to do? Or how does that work?
Well, I've often been involved in the workshop before going out on set, so I could see what the character was looking like. Sometimes I was even running the pieces because I'm all-rounder, they say, so I can do many phases of the process. So I can get involved either from the painting and then go on set with the pieces. So I know already what they look like, how big they are, how they sit on top of the face. And if I go only on set from scratch, usually we're given some designs or the pictures for the test makeups, or we are doing the test makeup, so we apply them for the first time. And if the pieces are bespoke, made on the face, with a bit of expertise, you can lay them on properly in position, respecting all the anatomy of the actor. And then if you're given strict direction on how to paint it, then you follow those guidelines. And if you are kind of free to go, you would just experiment. But usually, if it's a particular character, like let's say he's got a very specific color, like on X-Men, I was doing Azazel, which is a red makeup. That was designed beforehand because it was too peculiar, and it had to be defined which shade of red. And what we perfectioned on set was just the texture of the red. We were laying down 3-4 colors, so the red was not looking like just a single flat tone, but it was looking organic. and so we get to play around with that. But the main appearance is already designed beforehand.
That's amazing.
I could see getting a roller out, just rolling his face, and there you go.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, sometimes it's quite sad that people don't see how much effort is put into, just painting a character that just looks red on screen. I remember on Guardian of the Galaxy, I was doing Nebula together with Victoria Holt, and she had like a blue face, but the center of her face was purple. And in the film, you don't get to see that. She looks almost blue all the time because of the lightings. So we were the only one that knew exactly how many colors were on her. Then you would perceive that there's a different shade of blue, but not there was so much purple in it. Let's say the satellite was altering that a little, and so I started to download all the pictures, the official pictures, because we were not allowed to take our pictures on set. Yeah, no, we could just for continuity, but we couldn't. We weren't allowed to have like a full catalog of memories. Okay. So I was downloading them from the internet, and I couldn't find one that matched the actual paint job. Which That's is such funny. A shame. Yeah, no, sometimes you don't get to see the whole shades, but I mean, we have also to remind that it's not about our job; it's about the whole picture. So,
well, yeah.
Sometimes I have to step back and don't be jealous or don't be like manic about it, because we are working for something bigger, and we have to remember that sometimes.
And that Nebula look is so iconic.
Yeah.
So because she's been in so many films now, it just superb job.
Yeah, no, we were the lucky ones because we could work on the shaved Karen Gillan, because that was the only film where she allowed to shave, and I think the shape of the head with the shaved head was so much nicer. All the prosthetics were just following their natural curves, and you could see the shape of the skull. It was really nice. Now, I'm not saying it's not nice, but it's a little bulkier. And since I know exactly what her face is, I noticed that, and nobody else will. So, but I thought we were really lucky.
Did it kind of like spoil films for you a little bit, knowing how things are done and how things look and that sort of thing?
Yeah, totally. Sometimes I get my film ruined by mistakes, but I'm becoming really gentle now, because usually when I saw like mistakes or whatever, I was like, oh shit, they forgot this, the lace, whatever, or the paint or the continuity. And nowadays I say, oh my god, I'm so sorry for them. I'm sure they didn't allow them to retouch on set. No. So I'm really like I totally changed my mind, being a designer and being involved in first place in the responsibility for the whole thing. I know that it's not the artist's fault. Like 99.9% of the times, it's just they didn't allow you to work on set because they were in a rush. The actors just scratched themselves just before the take, and you already touched them up. Whatever the cause is, they've got their period and the oil on the face is more prominent. Whatever, there's a number of reasons that makes me say now I'm so sorry for them, because and I'm sorry that the editors didn't notice that was a thing that needed a retouch, because sometimes you're not involved in the editing of the films, so you cannot like say, look, I've noticed that at minute 10 there is this little corner, so can you touch it up? You don't get involved there, and I don't understand why this is not like a normal thing to do, just to invite people that are involved in the art departments, like costume, hair, makeup, and just make them see if they notice something, because it could be really helpful sometimes. Once you get the final editing, you just touch up the scenes that really need some attention. So I started to ask that in Italy, to get involved in that for free. I said, I'm gonna come for free, but since I'm signing for the job, I want to know if everything is okay, because maybe there was this cut that you didn't like, and you said to the continuity person, I'm not happy with that take, but it's their best acting take, so they cannot not use it.
Yeah.
And therefore sometimes you just have to go with it and just have them, you put a note in actually for them, say can you do a CGI touch up, but often that's not looked at, so they don't do it.
But that's
Crazy.
that's why we like talking to people like yourself, because like you don't see this sort of side of things when you're just watching a movie on the tit, and it gets unappreciated. So it's amazing that you guys care so much about what you're doing, especially because obviously we mentioned then that you worked on Nebula, but a lot of these projects you're working on more than one character. So it's like I got to do this, and I got to go to this person, and like with Harry Potter we mentioned before, didn't you worked on a lot of the goblins? Was it?
Yes, I said I was actually applying just one of them because it was a team of like 140 prosthetic artists. It was crazy. I met people from all over Europe. It was fantastic. But in regards of the painting, I was in the art finishing group, and I painted loads of them. So we pre-paint the pieces to save time during the application. Sometimes the application itself is already like 3-4 hours, and you don't want to spend another 2 hours to paint. So we pre-paint the pieces to a point, and we just leave some of the crucial edges that need to be blended on the skin. So you leave those, but then the rest of it is all pre-painted, so you can save time in the application. And you get a lot of better continuity because you paint them exactly the same, and you can compare them. You get all the sets laid down, and you can really put the molds in the same spot. If you got age spots, you can just place them exactly in the same place, veins, whatever. It's
cool.
It's really nice.
I bet, to be fair, that was probably worth it just to get your name on a wonder box. I saw that on your social media. That must be amazing, to be fair.
Yeah, God, yes, that was nice. Totally.
But we were saying then, like, how it can take hours to apply some of these makeups. Like, how do you deal with the actor or the model, like, trying to keep them calm while you're doing all this stuff? Because I would start feeling so claustrophobic after like 20 minutes, let alone 6 hours or however long it takes.
Yeah, you don't often get claustrophobic people, luckily, because otherwise they probably wouldn't do this job. But it's really important that you establish a really good relationship with them. So often when we start like at 3 or 4 a.m., that's not even an issue because they would sleep because they're so tired. So you would just envy them because they're sleeping. But in other occasions, I just put on the music, or I would let them watch a film on the iPad. They would read or listen to music, and or I just do the DJ. And if they opened, at their risk, because of course I listen to a peculiar type of music.
I wouldn't call it peculiar.
Yeah. But yeah, all sorts of things. We try to make the things nice as possible. We ask them to, they get free to stand up at certain steps of the makeup, so they can stretch their legs or have a coffee. But most of the time, they sleep. I had that luck. So yeah, that's most of the time. Or we listen to podcasts. We do that a lot because you cannot watch sometimes stuff because they also have to look up and down all the time. So we listen to podcasts.
May we recommend one for your next shoot?
Yeah, absolutely. Next time I am in the UK, or because not a lot of Italians speak English, sadly, so I cannot use English on all of my listenings, but I will every time I have the chance, absolutely.
So we touched on earlier, like you opened up your own studio, Viva FX. What made you decide to go into this world of doing design and taking the lead yourself? Because
I knew that I didn't want to work for somebody else again. Not because I had bad experiences, but because in Italy especially, I would rather decide my own way of things. and so it was natural for me to just be the leader and build a crew that I could work with. And my course is my education program was born right to find collaborators that were trained as I wanted. So I'm only taking a few students, and I do my classes once a year. They last for about 5 weeks, but they are really small courses. They last from 1 maximum to 5 days. If you do the whole courses in a row, then you would build a proper, like educational program. But if you are already trained as a makeup artist and you just want to specialize in a small bit, then you could just attend a short course. And I've got both courses for workshop work and courses for set work. So you could choose whatever you like. And I get people from all over Italy, so I'm really happy that, I mean, I get some recognition. And I found most of my collaborators in
awesome.
my workshops. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I've been really lucky.
So when we spoke to Steve Laporte, who, as I mentioned before we started recording, spoke very highly of you. So we had this conversation of passing the knowledge down, you know, because you need to keep this going. It's such an important part of the film industry. Is that part of the reason why you wanted to train those people as well? Just sort of keep that knowledge going?
Yes, I've always been interested in developing and passing on the knowledge. I think what shocked me and inspired me, it was when I moved to the UK, and I was just a student who, you know, really wanted to get into the industry, with the background experience of being told, oh, you have to pay to train, you have to pay to come to work. So I expected all the world to be like that. And instead, I got so much generosity from my colleagues in the UK. They were immediately so generous in sharing their knowledge. Sometimes I was afraid to, you know, just look at what they were doing. And they were like, instead, come here, they want to look what I'm doing. Oh, I'm doing this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And it was even Neil Gorton himself in my 2 weeks trial. I had a highlight in my portfolio, which was painting work, and I was able to use the airbrush, because for some reason when I was 18, I bought an airbrush and I started to make drawings on leather jackets and guitars.
Oh,
so
nice.
I used to work for a guitar shop, and I was making all the custom designs with the airbrush. So I was doing micro designs, and then he noticed that in the portfolio. So he had me for a couple of weeks to help around in the workshop, just to whoever needed some help. But then one day he said, come with me. And we went in this room, and I expected to be told off or something. And instead he took some reject foam latex from Doctor Who, and he said, I'm going to show you how to paint foam latex, because you know how to hold an airbrush, but you don't know the products that we used to paint on foam latex. I was like, seriously? So he sat down with me for a good 2 hours, showing me all the process. And I was like, then you have to copy this, use these techniques that I showed you, and I'll see you in a couple of days. So he led me all the time to experiment, copy things, and at the end, I just closed the circle, and I knew how to use the airbrush, but then I finally knew how to paint on prosthetics, and I eventually became an art finisher. And I worked a lot as an art finisher. I was really appreciated for that. And immediately when I came back to Italy, I wanted to show all the things I learned. I wanted to be as generous. I think that was really motivating me. And I said, never again that somebody says you have to pay to learn. I said, no, I'm gonna spread the knowledge. And the first thing that I've done, even before the workshop, was I founded a cultural association. It's called the EffectUs, and I started to create these conventions where we organize free workshops for people to learn some of the processes involved in the industry, and they're just on our workshops, but we explain them techniques, and it's quite nice because when you're generous with somebody, then you create like a coil, and people are generous with each other, and even if not everybody is, at least somebody else would do it, and eventually the industry is got a lot more fuller of younger people that are not necessarily linked to a family. So that was my first goal. Definitely pass on the knowledge.
Love it. I feel like I'm in Wayne's World. Not worthy. Not worthy.
Oh no, but I've got my secret reason to do so, because I want to do less and less, so I can ride my motorcycle and be a singer in my band. But,
genius.
People don't understand that my generosity is just a selfish, thing.
It looks good on paper. It's fine. It's fine.
Exactly, right?
Exactly.
Just want to do my stuff, and I really hope that people get better than me, because I can send them also on set too, and don't feel afraid for that. And I would love to have more time for my stuff.
Yeah, no, I think it's deserved after everything you've gone through. I mean, you mentioned Doctor Who, and obviously when that was revived, you went through a lot of like the amazing period of the end of Tennant, Matt Smith, and the start of Capaldi, which I think was like the elite time when it came back for everyone in Doctor Who. So that's incredible. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
But is there a difference between like makeup and FX for movies between TV? Is there a whole different process?
Nowadays it's the same, because the film device is the same.
Yeah, okay.
The only difference is when you do TV shows in the studio, because they put a lot of filters on. It's much more forgiving sometimes.
Okay.
But I'm talking about like TV formats, TV shows, not TV series.
Okay.
TV series is very much like a film. It's just longer. Yeah. So.
Oh, that's fair.
There's no difference. Sometimes the budget is a little different, but it doesn't make any difference to us because the process is the same. So you're kind of doing the same things, but cheaper.
Wow, okay.
For cheaper. You don't actually save money using cheaper stuff because the stuff is the same.
So we do have to mention that you've had a lot of involvement in the world of rock and metal. You're a big metal fan like we are as well. Did I see that you helped create an onstage Eddie suit?
Yes, that was one of the highlights of my career. Yeah, that was thanks to Millennium FX, because you must know that Neil Gorton used to work for Iron Maiden long ago. Don't remember which tour it was, but it was probably made in England, something like that. Bruce Dickinson was already in the band, and he did a lot of horror effects for a live performance of them. And then they still wanted to have some of his these walking Eddies on stage. They come out with the song Iron Maiden at the end. It's really good. And I got to paint one for the Somewhere Back in Time anniversary tour. Oh my God, that was a dream came true. Oh. And that was the first time I actually begged somebody to go with the man delivering it, because and I obtained it luckily. I remember that night. It was like at the end of my first 7 months in Millennium FX, and we had the Christmas party. I remember that like it was yesterday. It was 2007, and there was this Christmas party for Millennium FX crew. But I begged to go with this guy. I remember it was called Steven, I think. We went to deliver Eddie for a fitting test. So part of the band was there, and the guy performing Eddie. So we had to put it on and see him walking on stage, and they hired this massive oh my God, how's it called? Warehouse
Yeah.
where they were building the stage and rehearsing for the tour. So they had the stage built on with all the scene changes and everything, and it was fascinating. I was living the dream. Yeah, I met Bruce Dickinson. It was amazing. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was great. And then I got another chance a few years later for another tour, and I also painted another of the edits, but that was not the working idea. Oh yes, there was another one. There was another working idea. Yeah, it was massive costume. It was beautiful.
That's so. I can imagine being in that warehouse. You're like, if I hide in a box in a corner, they won't notice if I go on tour with them. It's fine.
Oh, God. Wow, I took so many pictures of that.
I can imagine.
It was like I got to remember that.
But you've even worked on like music videos as well, including like one of the incredible Italian band Lacuna Coil. It's being in a band yourself though, which we will touch on in a moment. Does that, working on things like that, does that sort of inspire you? You're like, you know, that's a pretty good idea. I'm going to go take that into my band.
Yeah, probably you learn something, definitely. Especially because with my band, we are always looking for very cheap ways to shoot videos. So I remembered like with Latina Coil, they were shooting with this Canon camera, which was like a photo camera, and just on a rig. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna do the same. So we shot our last videos with the camera.
Nice.
And yeah, but of course we don't have the same amount of money.
Well, no, it would be nice to have Lacuna Coil money. Yeah.
They had a massive crowd in that video, so we cannot afford that. We got friends, occasional friends come to shoot our videos, and yeah, it's fun. It's fun because I have a lot of experience now how films are made, and I try to put these ideas into our videos. But the rest of the band has different jobs and different economical possibilities, so I cannot just decide for myself and just impose what I can afford. So we found a way to share, you know. I mean, they don't want to feel in debt with me, but I know that we could do things like, oh shit, I would like to do more. But yeah, we're doing the best with what we have. I think we're doing good. I mean, we could just spend a little bit more on the next ones, because we just need to look a bit more professional. And I hate that, because being in the film industry and knowing that your videos are not professional is like, oh, that was really bad. But you know, that's why I use a nickname sometimes.
But obviously, we're referencing your band LoudBlood.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
just
exactly.
unbelievable, by the way, might I add. Your vocals and screams are just, wow.
Thank you.
Absolutely incredible. What made you want to go into what made you want to be a singer? Obviously, it's a completely different to what you do at the moment. So
yeah, I started when I was 17, and I bought my first guitar.
Okay.
And I wanted to be like what's it called, Dave Murray from Iron Maiden, and I started to learn all the Iron Maiden songs. But eventually I got to a point where I couldn't do solos, and I needed to practice more, and I was probably lazy. And I thought maybe backing vocals was so much easier. So I started to do backing vocals for a band on a Bon Jovi tribute.
Amazing.
And that was 20 years ago. And then I eventually went into singing, like as a main singer. And I continued to play heavy metal since then. So on and off, because I had some periods where I didn't have a band. But then when I was in London, I had a band called Inside the Circle.
Yeah.
We did a few gigs, and then when I came back to Italy, I kept having different types of cover bands, and I eventually got fed up with COVID in 2020. I got fed up with doing just heavy metal and classical metal and covers, and I was into metalcore. So I decided to use the time to learn some extreme singing. So during COVID, I took some lessons online, with different teachers, and I eventually learned how to scream, and I loved that. And I started to look for a band, actually band members, and instead I found a whole band that needed a singer because their singer just fucked off. So, sorry, can I say fuck?
Yeah, of course you can.
I love the way you said it as well. I was looking for members. I found a whole band because their singer fucked off. Brilliant. How efficient.
That's exactly how it happened. Like, he fucked off. I mean, you cannot describe it in any other way. So
Tickle me.
that's the thing. So I came in and I said, "Oh, wow, the songs were really nice, and the band members was really nice." I was like, "There must be something wrong somewhere." And then I realized later that there is a curse on this band.
Okay.
But it's a funny curse. Like, every now and then we have really bad luck on stuff, and our first album is called Bad Luck for that reason. So our bassist, he lost a fingertip in a drill, like how's it called, the column drill, whatever it's called.
Holy shit!
I know. And in fact, on our I remember here. On the cover there is a hand holding a heart, and the fingertip it's floating away, like he's leaving his fingertip, and then as soon as we have something important, like in December last year we had to play a really big gig. We were called by this band, which is growing up a lot in Italy, and he called us to open their release party, and we were 4 bands, and it was our biggest concert ever in a big venue, loads of people, and me and the bassist got really sick. I had fever, 40 degrees.
No,
I know. I was coughing so hard that my voice just went. But the funny thing is that it's funny because when you lose your voice, you can still scream, because extreme singing doesn't involve your vocal cords, but the false cords. So you are actually able to scream, but not to sing clean. And because our songs are a mix of clean and scream, during the show, I was like, whoa, and then and I was sorry, guys. I had to say at the first song, I was like, sorry, guys, I am ill and I cannot sing properly. And people were like, I heard you screaming. And, yeah, I can scream, but I cannot sing. And does it make any sense? Sorry, you have to believe me. I'm not that shit, So everybody had a good laugh. I was really honest. I was like, I promise you, I'm not that shit, usually. But you have to come again to see us, because seriously, I wouldn't sing like that normally, but we have to do what we have to do. And I decided not to cancel, because I got ill the night before, so it was even too late. So I didn't want to to leave a hole in the schedule. I was like, I'm gonna just tell them that I'm sick. So the people was really nice, and then I got my it's called it's not the revenge, when you got the second chance. I got my
second chance.
Like,
I can't think of the word you're thinking of.
Yeah, there is a term to say. We have a specific term in Italian, but anyway, like rivincita, like when you win again. And basically, we played a festival this summer, and a few people that were at that previous venue came, and at the end of the show, they came to tell me, "Yeah, you were right. You were not shit this time." I was like, oh. Thank you.
Amazing.
I'm really glad.
Incredible. But how do you balance like the band and the special effects work? How do you find like a healthy balance between the two?
It's the secret is don't sleep at all.
Well, I don't do it, yeah.
And that's what I do basically. I don't sleep. No, it's totally doable. Of course, it takes some effort, and I don't have kids. I've got a husband, but I don't have kids, which probably is part of the reason why I can fit in stuff. And the band stuff is mostly evening rehearsals, and then we've got some work to do online every now and then. I mean, often, but yeah, it's totally doable. I think for everybody, the will is the most important thing. So if you're really craving for something, you can achieve to do it.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
That's what I think. Maybe I won't be able to do it in a few years. So who knows? As far as I can, I do it.
Yeah. Enjoy the now. Don't think about it. Enjoy the now.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just if people are listening to this though and they want to go check out some LoudBlood songs, are there one or two that you'd like recommend people check out?
Say again, what for?
It's like if listen to this and want to check out some of your songs, is there
songs,
a couple of them?
Yeah,
that
I missed the word songs. Sorry, the whole link.
Makes sense.
Yeah, we are on every platform, like all the streaming platforms. So it can be iTunes, it can be Spotify, it can be anything. And just digit the LoudBlood on the platform, and we will come up. And we have so far 6 songs out. And the album is going to be released at the end of the year. We still haven't decided the date yet, but it's going to be available digitally at the end of the year. So, and then we got some stuff on YouTube, a few videos. And yeah, we got the socials like the Instagram and Facebook. Don't have TikTok because I couldn't bother, but I know it's really important. I should.
Yes.
It seems to be the one that everyone loves to use at the moment.
Yeah.
So, especially for music, but
yeah, unfortunately.
So difficult.
I personally really liked the title track of Brave Monsters. That's such a good song.
Oh,
such
nice.
a good song. I was listening to it, I was like, oh, this is going straight on the playlist. Yeah, loving this.
Oh, that's great. And if I can tell you something special about these songs, when I entered the band, they had already 5 songs with the other singer.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of songs, and I wrote only 3 of the new ones. But if you can't hear the differences, because I really put a lot of effort into make them mine. So Brave Monsters, for example, is a song from the other singer. But I was lucky that he had a range really close to mine. And so that was a perfect match, luckily. So I'm really proud with what we achieved. But we are ready for the next chapter. We are already starting to compose stuff, newer stuff, which is 100% ours, like as a new band.
Yeah.
And can't wait because it's gonna be more evil. Yes. I can't wait.
Before we start wrapping this up though, is there anything that you're working on at the moment that you can talk about, whether that be with the band or with the special effects work? Anything you've got coming out? Obviously the stuff you can't talk about, but is there anything you can talk about?
Oh, well, when they ask me these questions, it's hard to surprise somebody because I'm working mainly on Italian films, which probably abroad are a bit less known. So I'm not working with anyone famous or famous abroad, I mean. So I just can tell you that this year there's some recurrent effects sometimes in a year. Like for example, there is a year where everybody asks you for old agents, everybody asks you for something else. So this year is the year of tits and pregnant bellies.
Okay. Okay.
Phenomenal.
How was that?
That is, I couldn't have asked for anything more, could you?
On 2 different movies. So that's interesting.
I genuinely did not expect that to go that way.
That's the tagline for this interview. Tits and pregnant bellies.
Exactly.
It's done.
So I started the year with a film which had a few of those, and I'm finishing the year with another film that has a few of those.
Incredible.
So my workshop is covered with the boobies and and mountains of bellies because they look like heels, flesh heels. So it's It's quite weird. You enter and you see only boobs on the table. It's like all curvy. I want to see the fun part of it because
Incredible.
I was crying a minute before this interview. No, I'm joking.
Oh.
But it's been a hectic week, so I can't wait for it.
Oh, bless
for it
you.
to be over.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
And the fact you've taken the time out to sit with us and do this after such a hectic week is massively appreciated.
But that's
Really.
good, just to, escape with the head. It's nice
Yeah.
to talk to people and, meet somebody else.
Absolutely.
Mr. Stevens, do you have any more questions for our wonderful guest?
I do. Before I do ask it, though, I think we should do a part 2, don't you, Valentina?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I think we should. I think we should do another one of these
Definitely.
somewhere down the line. We should definitely do another one of these. I've got
Okay.
so much stuff I never asked, so I definitely.
Oh no! Okay.
Anyway, when you first started out on this journey, when you went to doing art at college and that sort of thing, and coming over to us for so many years, did you ever think this is where your life would be today?
I don't know if it's ego to say
Ego,
that, but I knew that I was gonna have success somehow.
Yeah.
Somehow. It doesn't mean that I knew that I was gonna be rich, because that doesn't really correspond to reality. But I knew that I was good at it, so I also knew I had to work hard for it. But I somehow always knew that it was possible. Probably I believed that, and there is a nice I don't know how it's called, the proverb, a nice way to say in Italian. They say they didn't know it was impossible. That's why they made it. And I think for me, it was even more focused on, I knew that I was going to make it.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't know how yet, but I knew that. And that's a feeling that always accompanies me, is always with me, even with the band. Because if you strive for the best, you would end up even close-ish. I mean, you wouldn't just stay still. You would get somewhere because you're pointed upward. So I don't know if it makes any sense.
It does. That makes loads of sense. Yeah.
I'm so lucky that I was born with that attitude, because otherwise a lot of things were gonna stop me, because it was not everything easy. So I had my down times.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Perseverance, determination, stunning. Love it.
What it needs to be. Where can people find you out in the world? Any plugs, social medias, websites? Where can people go?
Yeah, I am on the Facebook and Instagram. You can look for my name, Valentina Visintin. I will eventually pop out, and or you can find Viva FX. Or if you want to see my band stuff, it's Valek Rock. And Valek is a character from the book later of Interview with the Vampire is a vampire name. And I used to love vampires, so I thought I'd take the name Valek because it resembles Valentina, Vale.
Yeah.
And then I'll just put rock at the end, so it's Valek Rock.
Nice.
Works. Incredible. Thank you so much for taking the time out to chat with us today. It means the absolute world. We've had so much fun.
Oh, thank you. It's been really nice. Thank you for giving me an hour of freedom. I'm gonna go back to my boobies. I have to,
Seriously though, this has been so good. Like, absolutely love chatting to you and getting to meet you and whatnot. This has been a pleasure. So thank you so much, Valentina. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I hope I was understandable with my accent.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much, Valentina, for your time. It's great to meet you too. Look after yourself, right? Take care. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Bye-bye. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.